Next, we'll hear about upcoming programs at Landmark Center. Welcome to the SPNN Forum. Joining us today is Judy Brooks, Director of Community Programming for Landmark Center. Hi, welcome.
Hi, Steve. Great to be here.
Thanks. Thanks for being here again. And I understand we're going to talk about programs coming up. Tell me what you do in your role and what we can expect.
Well, I'm the Director of Community Programs for Landmark Center. And in that role, it is my job to put together and craft a very broad menu of community programs, cultural events, festivals, concerts, exhibits that are all free to the public or accessible. And it's part of our mission.
That's a lot.
It is. It is. Last year we did 244 community programs.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's almost a program a day.
Yeah, the math on that's pretty impressive.
Wow. Well, right now, as we're taping this, we're just about to the middle of December, and when people see this, it'll be the second part of December and into January. What kind of programs are you working on, and what will the public see in the next month or two?
Well, when 2019 hits, we'll begin our programming season, the second half of our programming season, with a set of concerts actually, by the Minnesota Boy Choir. They're a phenomenal choral ensemble, and that will be January 6th. Those are free concerts, one at 1 and one at 3:30 in the Corteil. No reservations needed, but they do fill up, so seating is limited. So we encourage folks to get there early for that, either of the concerts.
How many people can you seat in the Corteil?
Wow, we put out about 450 to 500 chairs, but then we have chairs that we put on the upper floors. So it's not uncommon to get close to 650 or 700 people to watch the boys sing. Yes, it's really, if you've never heard the boy choir, you need to come and see this concert.
I have never heard a choral ensemble in the Corteil. I've seen various performances and events, but I imagine they fill the space with the sound.
Absolutely. I am of the opinion that of all the types of sound that we can make happen in the Corteil, recorded music, live music, instrumental, spoken word, I think that the most beautiful for the space is choral music. We have a lot of reflective surfaces of glass and plaster and tile, and all of that sound goes right up to 4 stories up to the Corteil atrium ceiling, and it's absolutely beautiful, especially from the upper levels.
Is there a best vantage point to hear an experience like that?
Well, downstairs on the main floor is certainly lovely because choral groups are singing out at you. Yeah. But then if you happen to be standing or sitting up on an upper level, it comes right up to you, and it's very beautiful.
Wow. Yeah, there's something cathedral-like about
There is, yes.
About that space.
Yeah.
What else? What else?
So, I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
So then on January 13th, we start I want to say it's our 14th year of doing Urban Expedition, which is a series that we focus on 5 countries or cultures every year between January and April. And for 2 hours, we immerse our guests into the culture and traditions of another country. And those are free, and there's music, dance, food, crafts, live animals, all pertaining to that culture or people. And our first one this year is on January 13th, and we'll be visiting Puerto Rico. So we'll have bomba dance lessons and some live animals and taste of Puerto Rico, so it'll be a lot of fun.
Nice. Does that take place in the Corteil
Right
as
in the
well?
Corteil as well,
Okay.
yes, yes. So that's fun. And then on Sunday, January 27th, during the first weekend of the St. Paul Winter Carnival, we will have the St. Paul Civic Symphony joins us for a free concert at 2
Nice.
p.m., the Hot and Cool Classics concert. And it's more like a Pops concert. So audiences will hear a lot of familiar music. One time they did some Star Wars, and one time they did some from more John Williams from Harry Potter and so forth. So it's a lot of fun, and that's during the Winter Carnival, and that's free.
So when you say classics, they're doing modern classics, or is it a little?
A little of both. So kind of like a holiday or a wintertime Pops concert.
Okay.
So
Nice.
they'll do definitely classical music, but some intermixed would be contemporary compositions by John Williams and others that kids and families may recognize from the movies.
Yeah, Star Wars, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Live animals.
Live animals, yes,
Uh,
at every urban expedition, and the partner that we use for that is Fantasy Corral out of Wisconsin,
Huh.
and they research the countries and try to bring the animals that are native to that area.
Nice.
And one of the things we have learned is that virtually in every corner of the globe there are goats. And so we've seen a lot of goats.
Nice.
But just recently we've had llamas, we've had a camel, we've had
No, you did not have a camel in the Landmark Center.
we had a youth camel, and it was a young teen, and it had to be accompanied by a llama and an alpaca as its security animals, because
my
it was so
goodness.
skittish about coming, it wouldn't come without its friends. So we actually had a camel accompanied by a llama and an alpaca, even though we were featuring a country from the Middle East. So gets kind of fun.
That's a lot of fun.
So, and as I mentioned, the Hot and Cool Classics, and that's right around Carnival, because
Yeah.
Landmark Center is kind of a central location for a lot of Winter Carnival activities. And so on the day before, on January 26th, which is Saturday, that's the Grand Day Parade, which comes right in front of our building. In our building on that day, we have the ever popular St. Paul Winter Carnival Jigsaw Puzzle Contest, not for the faint of hearted, and followed by Kids Day, where there's a DJ and bouncy houses and all sorts of activities.
Nice.
So that's a lot of fun. And then it concludes the following weekend with Family Day at Landmark and other activities. So we're
Can I-
very fortunate that all happens.
I want to ask you about carnival activities. So, the idea of Landmark Center as being kind of a hub or a center of activities, I've certainly noticed that over the years, and with the skating rink and
Yes.
events in Rice Park.
Winter skate.
What's different this year with the reconstruction of Rice Park?
Well, we're excited about Rice Park getting an overhaul and a facelift. It's going to be beautiful, and we hope that this spring and summer everyone will come down and see Rice Park. But it does mean that during the carnival, we will not have ice sculptures out in Rice Park or concerts and music and vendors. They're still doing work, even though it looks quiet out there. They're still doing work in the park. So the ice carvings and the concerts and whatnot will generally take place in Kellogg Park, which is further down, right on the river, right across from the Intercontinental Hotel. But Landmark will still be the site for kids programming and family activities, and of course the parade will be out front. And so we're very excited about that. And the Hot and Cool Classics concert.
And skating rink.
The skating rink, Wells Fargo Winter Skate Rink, so fun, and gets packed during the carnival, and it's great fun to see all the families come down and skate, and they'll often come into Landmark to warm up. But it's a lot of fun to see that open, and that'll be open through the carnival. And when the carnival is over, sadly, winter skate is over.
Oh, I've had some good meals in in Landmark Center at the cafe as well.
Anita's Cafe.
Yeah.
Yep, Chef Jeff Conlon runs a mean kitchen and serves sandwiches and hot entrees and Monday through Friday, and he'll be open the first Saturday of the carnival on Parade Day. He'll be open for families to come and enjoy some lunch. So yeah, Anita's is open from 11:15 to 2 p.m. every afternoon for lunch, and it's all home cooked, so it's all good.
Well, one of the things I like about the building in that area is you could kind of make a day of it.
Yes,
I
you
mean,
absolutely can. You can make a day inside Landmark, because inside Landmark Center we have the whole building. As your audience may know, the Landmark Center was built in 1902 as the federal courthouse, customs house, and post office. And I say customs house because St. Paul, and you know this, Steve, I'm sure I don't have to tell you, is the northernmost port on the Mississippi. You knew that, right?
I do know that.
Yeah, you do, see.
Right.
Good for you. And so it was the custom house, and all home to all the federal offices in the upper Midwest. So the Army Corps of Engineers and the Radio Signal Office, whatever that was.
The FBI.
All of those, the FBI, and during Prohibition, the Dry Office was up in our, and in fact, on our 5th floor, in an office tucked out of the way, well, actually it no longer exists at this point, but was the office of Andrew Volstead, the father of Prohibition, father of the Volstead Act.
Nice.
So, you know, pretty ironic that the father of Prohibition had an office in the city that was the haven for the bootleggers and the gangsters. So, kind of comes full circle. That's karma.
It does, and I know some of the programs that they run at Landmark will often explore that era of history.
Yeah, exactly. So when you come in on a very cold day and you're in Landmark, and you can walk through the entire building. It's all interpreted under the aegis of Uncle Sam worked here, and you can walk through the building, and there is information on the walls, big triptychs and whatnot that will explain the various roles of the offices in the building and what its function was during that time. Then on the 2nd floor, we have 2 free museums that are amazing. The Gallery of Wood Art, that's operated by the American Association of Wood Turners. It's not table legs and chair legs. It's absolutely stunning works of art turned on lathes.
That's a national organization.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's global actually. And it's really amazing. And then across the hall from that is the Schubert Club Museum, which consists of early pianofortes and original manuscripts, harpsichords, original manuscripts by Beethoven and Mozart, and you can read the love letter that Mozart wrote to his wife in his hand. It's the real letter. So it's pretty amazing. And then they have a whole series. They have an Indonesian gamelan that's kind of a hands-on exhibit. So it's really quite interesting. All those are free. And so you really, and then we have Anita's, so you could spend the day at Landmark.
Well, if you're just joining us, we are hearing about upcoming activities at Landmark Center, and we're talking with Judy Brooks, Director of Community Programs for Landmark Center. So, Judy, I have a little tiny fear that I got you off track in talking about some calendar of upcoming events.
Yeah,
and I know you have a lot more.
Well,
that you'd like to mention.
in February, it's going to get very exciting because, of course, February 10th we have our 2nd urban expedition, and we'll be visiting and learning about the people of Palestine. So again, we'll have traditional music, dance, foods, a language lesson, all sorts of other things coming in as people learn about Palestine.
Nice.
And again, that's free. And then on February 17th, we have from noon to 5 a Balkan Festival.
Oh.
Not to be confused with the Baltics, which would be Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, but the Balkans, which would be
countries that we know as parts of the former state of Yugoslavia.
Correct.
Yeah.
So Serbia and Hungary and several others, Romania,
Montenegro,
Montenegro,
Kosovo,
thank you,
Bosnia. Yeah.
And that's coming up. There is a small fee for that at the door that helps defray some of the costs of bringing in the performers. But we work on that with Ethnic Dance Theater, and they're amazing.
Yeah.
And we're very fortunate to partner with them. And so the Balkan Festival, oh my gosh, it's demonstrations, it's vendors, it's food, it's music, it's more activities for kids. That's a big one. So that'll be coming up.
I'm familiar with Ethnic Dance Theater. We've captured some of their performances, and they're top-notch.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So, and then perhaps one of our newest and biggest and most important programs that we have that we're working on right now will take place over Valentine weekend, February 14th, 15th, and 16th, in observation of Black History Month. And it's a play, an original play that was written locally called Not in Our Neighborhood. And it documents a true story, actual events that took place in St. Paul in 1924 when a young African-American couple who lived in the Rondo area wanted to purchase a home in the Highland-Groveland area. And this couple was very prominent, very active in their community, active in politics. He was a well-respected black lawyer, a graduate of St. Paul Law College. His wife was a graduate of St. Paul Central High School, was a graduation speaker at her class. And the developer was building a house in the Groveland Park region, and they had no problem selling them the house until the neighbors heard. And we had St. Paul's, not just one, but 2 cross burnings on that property. Wow. So we're going to be documenting that. It's going to be a very important play. And
do we know who the playwright is?
2 playwrights, local gentlemen, that both went to St. Paul Central. Eric L. Wood, and Tom L. Fable. Tom is a former retired legal practitioner, and Eric Wood is also retired. So we're working together with Pilgrim Baptist Church and William Mitchell, or Mitchell Hamlin, as they're now called, and Ramsey County Historical Society, and getting involved with the NAACP to bring this story to Landmark Center. So it's going to be a very important play, and we hope that people will come and see it.
That's a really tough part of the city's history to think about, the segregation of
absolutely
neighborhoods.
And one of the things that we're going to do with this production is have several discussions, one happening during the noon hour on a date to be determined, and one happening after the Friday performance that will allow people to understand more what was going on at the time and what was the legacy of that kind of residential discrimination. And it gave rise to something called a restrictive covenant. My learning curve has been very high. A restrictive covenant, many of which were in place up until the last 20 years in various parts of the Twin Cities, whereby it is written in the purchase agreement of a home that it may not be sold to a particular group or group of individuals.
Wow.
Yep. So that is a big topic for learning. And there are several groups and organizations that are studying restrictive covenants and housing discrimination. And so this place speaks to that, absolutely.
Tell us again.
Not in Our Neighborhood.
Not in Our Neighborhood.
February 14th, 15th, and 16th at the F.K. Weyerhaeuser Auditorium in Landmark Center. Which
is a very nice auditorium theater, and it's on the lower level.
Right, no obstructed views.
Yeah.
And tickets are, again, at Landmark, everything we try to do, we try to keep it free or affordable, accessible. So the tickets will only be $10.
When you say accessible too, it's an older building, but there've
Oh,
been modifications
Yeah,
made.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely. So anyone with a mobility impairment can easily access the building, access the auditorium. So it's not a problem.
okay.
But so this will be an important play. Stay tuned.
Well, we've just got a few minutes left. So another aspect of the programs that you manage, I know that there's some kind of year-round offerings, and there's some things that take place in the courtrooms. There's concerts.
All sorts.
Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to highlight or invite people to investigate?
Well, yeah, it's, as you mentioned, there are not just the cortile. Many of our programs take place on our big atrium cortile. But in the courtrooms that are beautifully restored historic courtrooms, we also have programs. So we have a series that we partner with Global Minnesota, and we have Global Conversations, where Global Minnesota invites acclaimed speakers and experts in their field. We've had diplomats, we've had government officials, all sorts of folks come in and discuss relevant topics on the global scene. And in fact, tomorrow, coming up, your viewers won't see this, but they're doing their December program on global health issues. So that's free over the noon hour. Then between October and April, the Schubert Club hosts courtroom concerts, and those are every Thursday from noon to 1 in one of our courtrooms. They have a free classical music concert, and so that's really nice.
So that takes place over the noon hour.
Yep, for 1 hour.
This is kind of a dumb question. Can I get something to eat and watch a classical concert?
You can bring your lunch and eat it quietly.
No potato
Eat it quietly.
chips, yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. Bring a brown bag, sure. And so then in the summer, things get a little quieter, but that's when we go into tour mode, because in the summer we have a whole series of walking tours throughout downtown St. Paul. And those are also free. And so those are fun to do.
Really?
And we also have music in the cafe, where on Wednesdays you can get a lunch at Anita's or a food truck, or bring your own lunch. And from noon to 1 on the cortile, we'll have an emerging local artist, and that's been fun too. We've had, way back in the beginning, we had a little-known artist and her group called Davina and the Vagabonds. We've had Jello Slave. We've had Joey Ryan. We've had, so we don't want to say we discovered them, but we had them first. So.
Jello Slave, I know a little bit about, the wonderful cellist and violin and.
Yeah. So, and then then that brings us back to the fall, and I would be remiss if I didn't put in a plug for one of my favorite programs that we do, and that is in October. We do it only one time, one night. It's called the Gangster Ghost Tour.
Oh.
And in October, it's usually the Wednesday before Halloween.
Yeah.
For $10 a ticket, we take out, I think it's 11 groups. A group of 20 goes every 15 minutes, led by a guide who remains fairly quiet throughout the darkened building, where they encounter the spirits of the gangsters and judges and bootleggers, and it's a blast.
Nice.
It's a blast.
Nice.
That's my favorite.
That's a lot of fun.
I say that because I'm one of the ghosts.
Oh,
so it's my favorite.
Oh, yeah. This is it's an opportunity for you to be.
It's an opportunity for me to exercise my true calling, which is the stage.
The stage.
Right.
Yeah.
I say that tongue in cheek.
Well,
I couldn't act my way out of a shoebox.
I disagree. I've seen you act. So one last little question, and then we're going to wrap up. I have seen some of the courtrooms, and I can't remember for the third floor or fourth floor, but some of those individual courtrooms are these amazing, unique jewel box.
Yes.
feats of architecture. If I stopped in to the building sometime, can I look around? Can I wander around?
Absolutely. We have 4 beautifully restored courtrooms, and what you're mentioning, the most ornate and most beautiful are on the 4th floor.
4th floor.
And the Chief Justice Room is perhaps the most ornate. African marble fireplace, or actually it's a heating duct, but it's made to look like a fireplace. And intricately carved mahogany pillars and woodwork and paneling and leaded glass domed inlet not skylight, but a backlit ceiling dome.
Like a Tiffany kind of ceiling.
Yeah, very Tiffany-esque, right. And then across the hall is the Sanborn Room, which used to be the courtroom for the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals. And that is all white marble with blue accents and polished oak accents and another big leaded glass domed ceiling. So they're really beautiful. And provided they're not in use, we are a functioning building. People use the courtrooms for meetings and programs and whatnot, but if it's open, you are welcome to go through.
Nice.
We encourage folks. We have a building map that you can take with you, and then if you want a tour, we have free tours that go out Thursdays at 11 a.m. and Sundays at noon. No reservation needed. You just come to the information desk and say, I want the tour.
I did not know that.
Yes, so you get a free guided tour. And they cover all aspects. They'll take you into all the courtrooms as they're able. And you'll get the history of the building, the federal history, the gangster history, the architectural elements. It's really a good tour. It lasts about an hour.
Well, Judy, thank you so much.
Oh, it's been a pleasure.
I thank you, and thanks to the rest of the staff, because you're not only taking such wonderful care of this architectural treasure, but you're doing so many things to allow the public to come and explore it and experience all these different types of events and educational events, entertainment. So
that's what it was saved for.
Well, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's all we have time for on today's St. Paul Forum. Join us again next week.